Objection to the consideration of the concurrent resolution? Without objection, the concurrent resolution is agreed to, and the motion to reconsider is laid on the table. For what purpose does the gentleman from North Carolina seek recognition?
Mr. Speaker, I ask unanimous consent that when the House adjourns today, it will adjourn tomorrow morning at 9 a.m.
Without objection. For what purpose does the gentlelady from Florida seek recognition?
Mr. Speaker, I ask unanimous consent to address the House out of order.
Without objection.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker and our colleagues, last night, the Sunshine State lost a brilliant statesman who loved Florida and all of her people. And with the sad passing of our beloved Bob Graham, our entire nation lost a proud world citizen, a dedicated American patriot, and a devout public servant. A true son of Florida, Graham rose to serve in our governor's mansion and 3 terms as a United States Senator. Despite that august resume, Bob Graham was, at heart, a man of the very people he represented. In his first campaign for governor, Graham pledged to put in 8-hour days working the same tough but rewarding work that Floridians do every day to make our state so strong. He paved roads, delivered luggage in hotels, taught school, and picked tomatoes. True to his word, Graham completed over 400 of these workdays so he could touch, see, and feel the challenges and triumphs of the neighbors he so proudly represented. As governor, he led our most ambitious program ever to boost education, notably improving our state universities. Like me, he was a proud University of Florida Gator. And today, Bob Graham can look down with pride on his alma mater and a university system that he helped ensure rivals the best in the nation. His love and dedication to education was passed on to so many in our state, and thankfully to his own daughter, Gwen. Fittingly, Gwen Graham, our former congressional colleague, now serves in the U.S. Department of Education. Perhaps his most visionary achievement in Florida will be his ambitious environmental protection agenda. His Florida programs are still being carried forward to this day, including his work to save the Everglades. This issue, like so many, demonstrated his skills to build consensus across the political spectrum, and that bipartisan spirit still guides Florida's diverse delegation. As a foreign affairs expert, Senator Graham stood out as a brilliant master of statecraft. As chair of the Senate Select Committee on Intelligence, he understood all too well the very real global threats that we face as a nation. And he never shrunk from asking the tough questions, even as America reeled from the September 11th attacks. He bore a heavy weight to demand accountability for this tragedy. Yet this man who epitomized that what we all think of as an elder statesman was a far more complex figure than that. When the Tallahassee Press Corps did their annual roast of state leaders, there was Governor Graham helping them turn the spit, even if it meant poking fun at himself. And when a constituent flagged a problem or a task he needed to circle back on, he'd scribble it in his notepad, just like his dad did. His love of family is something every one of his children and grandchildren will testify to, as they all loved their doodle, as he was affectionately called. Even in his, quote, retirement from government, he established the Bob Graham Center for Public Service. To the very end, he nurtured in others the noble custom he perfected of serving that very community that he served so well. There are no words to express my gratitude and respect for Senator Graham, and it is evidenced by our entire delegation being here today to honor him, and we will all miss him dearly. Today, we keep his entire family and all those who loved him in our thoughts, including his wife, Adele Corey Graham, his 4 daughters, Gwen, our former colleague, Sissy, Suzanne, and Kendall, all his grandchildren and great-grandchildren, his former staff, and all those across the country who knew and loved him. May his memory be a blessing. Mr. Speaker, I ask that all those present in the chamber and in the gallery, as well as all staff members and visitors throughout the Capitol complex, rise for a moment of silence in honor of our former colleague and friend, Senator Bob Graham. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I yield back.
The chair will receive a message.
Mr. Speaker, a message from the Senate.
Mr.